Welcome to BCIS 1305. This is Dr. H.Schuessler again, and today we're going to be talking about Chapter 3, Computers and Mobile Devices. So let's go ahead and jump on in here and take a look at what we've got. The objectives for this chapter are to talk about some of the characteristics and uses of desktops, laptops, tablets, and handheld computers. We're also going to talk about some of the different types of servers and some of the context behind servers. Not everybody, when somebody's talking about servers, they may not necessarily be talking about the same thing. So in this chapter, we'll talk a little bit about what they might be referring to, whether it be hardware, software, etc. We're going to differentiate among point-of-sale terminals, ATMs, and self-service kiosks. We'll talk about cloud computing, and I've got a brief little video that I'll share with you there. It's a little bit dated, but I think it really helps to illustrate some of the capability of cloud-based computing. We'll talk about some of the characteristics and uses of smartphones, digital cameras, portable media players, and ebook readers. We'll talk about some of the characteristics of and ways to interact with game devices. We'll talk about embedded computers and where they are. It may be quicker to talk about where they're not. We'll differentiate a port from a connector and talk about some of those different types of ports and connectors. We'll talk about safeguards against hardware theft and vandalism, as well as hardware failure. And we'll talk about different ways to prevent health-related injuries and other disorders caused from using technology. We tend to kind of think about using it all the time, but the reality is that it impacts us physically. And so we'll talk about that and some of the ways to address some of those issues. Okay, so in general, we can really kind of clump or lump different types of computers into some rather generic categories, if you will. For example, we've got desktop and mobile computers, and that represents kind of a class of computers that we'll talk about here in just a little bit. We've also got servers and terminals, and those are kind of their own little groupings of computers. Smartphones, digital cameras, etc., game devices, and embedded computers. And these are just kind of some general categories for different types of computers that are out there. Before we jump into those specific categories and what distinguishes one from another, let's talk about a personal computer first in a little bit more detail. At the beginning of the semester, we talked about the definition of a computer being something that takes input, processes it, and produces some sort of output. So we use a keyboard, we use a mouse, we use a microphone to input information into the computer. The computer processes that information, and then it produces some sort of output in the form of a printout if it's a printer, something to the screen if we're trying to read it on a monitor, from speakers if we're listening to music or something of that nature. So that's basically what a computer is. A personal computer is something we interact with individually. In other words, it's ours. And the idea behind it is there's a certain amount of customization that goes along with that. We can create our own background image, for example. We load the applications that we need to use or that we want to use on that personal computer. So there's a personal nature to that computer. The ultimate in personal is the mobile computer. That's something we can take with us much more easily, and it tends to be with us much more throughout the day. So a portable computer or a mobile computer is a personal computer designed so that a user can easily carry it from place to place. So think laptops, netbooks, etc. So the text kind of gives us some examples there of some of those different general categories of computers. Okay, so the first category we're going to kind of dive into are the desktop computers. So a desktop or desktop computer is a personal computer designed to be in a stationary location. In other words, we're going to set it up and then we're not going to worry about it anymore. We simply use it. We're not going to take it from place to place regularly. It's essentially going to sit there. We're going to power it on when we need it, and we're going to power it down when we're not. In some cases, we may leave it on for extended periods of time if we think we might be coming back to it. But for the most part, it's going to stay there. We've got a couple of different kinds of desktop computers. We've got the one there on the left, which is a desktop tower computer. Some will sit underneath the desk, they may sit on top of the desk, but it's essentially a box that's going to house various components, and some people will refer to this as the system unit. It's going to house the motherboard, various expansion cards, hard disks, optical disks, things like that. And it's going to have various ports on it in the front and in the back that are going to allow us to attach peripherals to it. Peripherals being things like speakers, keyboards, monitors, printers, etc. Related to this is what we see there on the right, which is an all-in-one desktop. This is essentially a monitor that has the computing components built into that monitor. And this is nice in terms of not being able to, not necessarily taking up as much space on our desk. Now the downside to this is this tends to use a lot of proprietary hardware, specialized motherboards and specialized expansion cards, for example. And those tend to cost more when you have to work on them or when you have to replace one of those components. So there are pros and cons to both of these different types of desktop computers. A laptop, sometimes referred to as a notebook computer, sometimes it's described as a clamshell design. In other words, as you open the display on a laptop, it kind of mimics the look or gives the appearance of a clam opening and shutting. So it's referred to as a clamshell design. And the advantage to these is that they are typically relatively thin, they're lightweight, they're very portable, and so we can take them and use them to work on the go and take them to and from work, to and from various places, to be able to have that computer with us for outside of just the workplace or outside of just the home. So portability is the real key when we start talking about laptops and notebooks and things like that. Let's see, this next slide kind of goes beyond a traditional laptop there on the right and shows you a convertible tablet, something that converts from that traditional laptop or traditional notebook to be converted into a tablet. This particular design allows the display to twist around there and then folds flat against the keyboard. And so now you have a traditional tablet, or I say a traditional, not like tablets have been around all that long, but it gives you a tablet computer. On the left we have a tablet, very convenient, very portable, extremely portable, typically not quite as good of processing power as one of the downsides of tablets. If you have a lot of input that you need to be able to do or a lot of processing that you need to do, sometimes these computers aren't particularly robust at stuff like that, but they're extremely good for things like consuming information, so visiting websites, reading books, checking email, some of the very basics that you might need a computer for. These can be extremely good for that, and obviously they're extremely good at being portable. Handheld computers are small enough to fit in one hand. So you see an example here of a scanning device, something that might be used to scan barcodes. You might have another handheld computer that connects to the computer in your car to be able to read error codes and start giving you troubleshooting hints on what to look for in the car in terms of issues that the car might be having. So these are small, very specialized devices that typically don't allow you to do an awful lot other than their one specifically designed purpose. In this case, reading barcodes off of boxes. It'll read those barcodes. You can interact with the main system, usually either wirelessly or by taking the scanner back and plugging into some sort of cradle that allows it to upload and download information. Now, I mentioned in class this discussion of servers, and servers really have context to them. In other words, when you're talking to an individual about servers, until you listen to them a bit, you may not know specifically what they're referring to. They may be referring to hardware, they may be referring to software such as the operating system, or they may be referring to services. The text kind of looks at a couple of these in terms of hardware and in terms of services. It doesn't really address the operating system side of server or aspect of servers. So when we talk about the hardware, we're talking about physical devices, the physical machines. And these may be machines that, or a server machine, it's usually something that's a little bit more robust than a typical computer. It still performs the same processing aspects of a traditional computer. It requires input. It needs to be able to process that input. It produces output. So it does all those normal computer things, but it also needs to be more robust in that if something happens, it needs to continue to function. So oftentimes these things will have dual power supplies, for example, so that if a power supply fails, it can continue to function. They may have dual processors, again, so if a processor fails, the server can continue to function. Dual network interface cards, same reason. So it'll be a much more robust hardware piece. And these come in several different kinds. They're rack servers, blade servers, tower servers. A tower server may look very similar to a regular computer, but it's really the hardware that's inside that differentiates it. When we talk about the operating system, we may be talking about Windows Server 2012, we may be talking about Solaris, we may be talking about Linux. But these are server operating systems that are designed to manage resources, and designed to manage users and house applications and services that users might need. The services side of servers are the specific services that clients might require. Clients might require web files, for example, so it'll access a web server. It may require an application, so it will access an application server. So there's lots of different types of services that a server can offer up, depending on the purpose behind that server. So the book gives us an example of several different types of dedicated servers. So a web server, print server, network server, etc. So there's lots of different types of services that a server can potentially offer. A mainframe is a large, expensive, powerful server that usually is designed to handle a lot more users. There was a time when mainframes were essentially what we had in the way of computing. There were these big, very powerful devices, and they were designed to handle a lot of users. And this was in the days before PCs. But as networking really proliferated, we kind of moved away from mainframes quite a bit, and in a sense kind of started to move back towards mainframes a little bit when we start talking about these massive websites, these huge websites with lots and lots and lots of users. It's really kind of required the use of mainframes again. So the mainframes, despite their promised demise, are still around and still used quite a bit. Kind of related to this idea of very large, very powerful computers is the idea of a supercomputer. Whereas a mainframe is still a very, to a large degree, a general purpose device, it's able to do a lot of different types of general purpose functions. The supercomputer is really designed to tackle one specific problem. This may be cancer research, it may be related to predicting weather patterns and things of that nature, but it's typically a very specialized computer or group of computers designed to work on a very specialized problem. And that's the idea behind a supercomputer. Terminals are something that we use to interact in a lot of cases with a mainframe. A terminal is essentially a dumb computer or a thin client that looks a lot like a regular computer. A lot of times there is a keyboard or there is a monitor that allows us to interact with the device, but it doesn't do a lot of processing power. It doesn't have a lot of processing power and do a lot of processing on that physical device. Rather, it's just an interface for us to be able to access the mainframe or access a server. So if we were to lose network connectivity, for example, we're going to lose the ability to be able to utilize that terminal. We see this a lot in retail spaces, point-of-sale terminals. A lot of times are terminals. They don't do a lot on those devices themselves other than capture customer information, payment information, but they're not able to process that information. It just takes the information that's input into it, sends that information back to a server or back to a mainframe that actually does the processing itself and then returns the results to that terminal. An ATM is similar. It is another example of a type of terminal. Again, that ATM doesn't have any of the information on it in terms of your bank information, your credit score, or any of that type of stuff. It's just something that's really designed to manage the money that's in the machine and to be able to take your input when you put that card in there, the card, your PIN, etc., and then it communicates that information back to a server somewhere that then is able to process that, and it tells the terminal, in this case the ATM, how much cash to be able to release. A self-service kiosk is another type of terminal that usually has a touch screen for interaction. It's usually a very limited type of device that really is designed and built around a single purpose. So there's financial kiosks, photo kiosks, ticket kiosks that allow you to do different things. If you're at the airport, for example, in a lot of cases, you'll use a kiosk to be able to print out a boarding pass to be able to board a flight. in some stores, you're able to use a photo kiosk to be able to order prints. You can order images, different sizes and things like that. Financial kiosks in order to be able to open bank accounts, buy prepaid cards, things of that nature. So there's lots of different uses of kiosks. They typically, like I said, they're very focused in terms of what they do. They provide direct usually provide some sort of touchscreen interaction to make them as interactive as possible. And that's the idea behind a kiosk. Now, cloud computing, something I referred to in class, is that if computing is relatively new to you, learning about cloud computing can really be an advantage for you. If you're used to traditional file management, switching to a cloud-based perspective can be a pretty big jump. It's a different way of thinking about where you save files, how you interact, how you share files, how you work on files collaboratively, and things of that nature. So cloud-based computing is something that refers to an environment of servers that operate out in the cloud, operate out in the internet, and so you don't have to worry about storing files locally, you don't have to worry about backing up files, you don't have to worry about version control if we're talking about software as a service and things like that. To me, one of the very best examples of cloud-based services or software as a service is Google Docs, and I've got a brief little video here that we're going to take a look at that really kind of helps to illustrate this point quite well, I think. And it's a little bit of a dated video, but conceptually it's exactly what we're talking about. So let's take a look at this video.
Home is where we keep the things we need. Whether it's a lawnmower or a coffee pot, it has a home in our lives. Of course, our documents are no different. For years, they've lived on our computers. Each person has their own computer-based home for documents. When we need to share a document, we usually attach it to an email and send it to a friend's or coworker's computer home. Here's the problem. When you attach a document to an email, copies are created. Consider this. If you send an email attachment to 3 people, the same document will exist in 4 different places. That's a problem. There's a better way, and it means saying goodbye to messy email attachments. This new kind of home isn't on your computer, it's on the internet. And that makes sharing and collaborating on documents much easier and gives you full control over who can see and access your documents. Here's the basic idea. Instead of attaching a document to an email, let's switch it around and look at how we can attach an email address to a document. Meet Sam. Sam is the editor of a neighborhood newsletter called the Oak Tree View. She works with local writers who like to publish articles in the newsletter. Sam loves her job, but often feels frustrated when time is wasted managing all the articles. It's a familiar problem. Each month, writers send her draft articles as email attachments. She reviews them and sends them back with comments. One article might create 6 different versions of the same file, not to mention countless emails. Sam often feels buried by all the email attachments. She finds it hard to keep track of all the versions being sent to her from the writers. As the deadline looms, frustration rises. Something has to give. Sam decides to try something new. Google Docs. Here's what happens. First, she visits the Google Docs page and creates a free Google account. She logs in, and because some articles were already written, she uploads the current draft right from her computer. With a snap, Google Docs turns the offline articles into online versions. Now, all she needs to do is invite the writers to collaborate on the document. Here's how. She clicks Share, and inserts email addresses, and clicks Invite Collaborators. Google Docs sends the writers an email with a secure link directly to her document. One click, and they can edit and save the document online. This means that when Julie edits the document, Sam sees the changes immediately. Since there's only one document, there's never confusion about updates or versions. It's all saved, along with the past versions, on the website. For the first time, articles all have a home, a single place for organizing and editing that is accessible from any computer with internet access. Problem solved. What's really cool is that this problem isn't just solved for documents, but also spreadsheets and presentations. All 3 can now have a secure home on the web that works exactly like Sam's documents. Sam is relieved. Without having to deal with attachments, multiple versions, and all that clutter, she can be an editor instead of a document master. And for the next newsletter, not a single email attachment is sent, and Sam beats the deadline by a week. Sharing documents made simple, and all for free. Google Docs rocks.
Okay, so while there may be some confusion as to what cloud really means, there's a lot of promise with respect to software as a service to be able to really facilitate cloud-based computing, to really facilitate collaboration specifically. It makes it much easier for example, for students to be able to work on a document collaboratively and not have to worry about sending updates and sending files back and forth and merging those different files, which can really be a pain. Now you're starting to focus more on formatting and stuff like that rather than the content. And so Google Docs offers a lot of promise to be able to really focus more on the content, and the formatting really kind of takes care of itself because you're all working on the same document at the same time. That's not to say that there aren't still formatting issues, but that can kind of become secondary to the content. Other types of mobile devices include smartphones, an internet-capable phone that usually also includes a calendar, an appointment book, address books, calculators, notepad, all kinds of stuff. The smartphones are much more powerful than our computers used to be years ago. So these are computers in and of themselves. They take input when we're typing in a text, when we type in a phone number, when we type in a web address on our mobile browser on our phone. And so it's taking that input, it processes that information, and it produces information back to produces that information back in the form of output to our screen. So it allows us to make that call, it allows us to send that text, etc. A lot of smartphones have touch screens, others have other types of input devices, including mini keyboards and things like that. So here's a few pictures of different examples of different types of keyboards. Digital cameras are other types of mobile devices. Gone are the days when we had to load film directly into the machine or directly into the camera, take our pictures, and then take the film out and go have it developed. Today, we have all different types of options when it comes to those cameras. We have SD cards that the photos can be taken to. We can remove that SD card and plug it into an SD card reader and retrieve the images that way. We can oftentimes plug up a USB cable to our devices and access photos. We can send them via wireless. We can, in a lot of cases, they can be sent directly to a printer, or they can be sent directly to Facebook or Flickr or other social networking sites, or to a printer such as at Walgreens or CVS or something like that. So there's a lot of options that these mobile devices have, but again, they're doing the same thing that a computer does. They take input, they process it, and they provide output. We've also got portable media players, store our music on, play those back, we can organize our files, etc. We've got ebook readers. Ebook readers can be great for things like obviously reading books, but also once you really become comfortable with them, there's usually a lot of features that are built into ebook readers that can make them very useful. For example, trying to find certain terms in a text that you might be interested in that may not be listed in the index, for example. So there's a lot of things. Obviously, the ability to store multiple books in one small device, making it extremely portable. So rather than carrying around a backpack full of texts, you can carry around a lot of books on a single device. We've also got game consoles. Gone are those days of those old Atari game consoles that really just allowed you to play the game, and then when you're done, you turn it off. We don't have that issue anymore. Today, our game consoles are much more complex, and they do a lot more than just allow you to play that game. They allow you to interact with other players across the world. They allow you to store games. They allow you to customize those games. They allow you to play other services such as Netflix or Hulu. So there's a lot of different features that are built into game devices today that has resulted due to the fact that they're computing devices relative to what they used to be like. So here's some of our different types of both input and output devices. So we tend to think of these probably more as input devices. We use a joystick to manipulate the things that are going on the screen. We use a balance board to be able to manipulate what's going on the screen. But take, for example, the pedals and the wheel. There are some games that you can be playing, and if you were to hit a curb, you'll feel the steering wheel jerk back and forth, and to kind of give you feedback from the game that, hey, you've hit something. So a lot of these devices actually allow you to get output back out of the game system that way. So it's not just about getting output from the screen, you can also get output back from the input devices as well. So how do we go about actually before we get there, there's also a class of computers referred to as embedded computers. Virtually everything has a computer built into it anymore. Obviously our smartphones, we talked about that. But my desktop phone, for example, here in my office, it plugs up to our IP network. It's a small computer. It's a very specialized computer. We have embedded computers in our refrigerators that help to maintain a constant temperature. We have embedded computers built into our automobiles that helps to keep track of our fuel efficiency, the various sensors that are built into our automobiles throughout the various components. So we have embedded computers in virtually everything that we interact with anymore. So here's an example of some of the functions that an embedded computer might deal with in your automobile. So dealing with tire pressure, monitoring your cruise control, your seat belts, airbags, GPS, etc. So how do we go about comparing all these different types of computers? Well, there's lots of different potential categories that you could make comparisons. You could physical size, their processing power, their costs, their functions, things of that nature. But there's some general categories here that they talk about in the text for those different categories of personal computers, mobile, game consoles, servers, etc. So we can look at their physical size. Personal computer is, well, it's personal. It should be something that sits on the desk, something that's not too big, but at the same time it's not going to be ultra portable like a desk or like a laptop or a smartphone or something like that. Number of simultaneously connected users. A personal computer is really designed to be used by one. But if we're talking about a server, if we're talking about mainframes, for example, we expect those devices to be able to handle a lot more users. But we also expect those costs, the general price range of those devices, to be significantly higher as well. So those are just kind of some general categories with which to compare the different categories of computers that we've discussed. And all those peripheral devices being input devices and output devices that we've discussed before, have to be able to connect to our computers in some way, shape, or form. So usually we're going to connect those devices to a port on those devices. So a port is the point at which a peripheral device attaches to or communicates with a computer or mobile device. So that allows us to provide input into that device or retrieve output from that device. So the image there gives you some examples of different types of ports on different devices. Probably the most common is going to be USB, and we'll talk about that a little bit more here in just a second. Now what we plug into those ports is referred to as a connector. And that's what joins the cable to the port. So it's that piece on the end of the cable that actually plugs into the port. So some examples, very specific examples of different types of cables or connectors and the ports with which they plug into. We've got display ports, we've got DVI, FireWire, HDMI. There's lots and lots and lots of different types of connectors and lots of different types of ports. The most common ones are going to be probably HDMI, VGA, microphone, USB. These are really some of the very common ones. Network ports, for example, an RJ45 connector and RJ45 port. So that's how we're going to connect various input and output devices to our computers. USB device is USB port is a very special type of port because it's so widely used. It can be used for so many different types of devices, whether it be a printer, whether it be an additional network interface card. USB ports are by very definition, universal. They can be used for an awful lot of different types of things. So it really deserves a little bit more discussion in terms of just how valuable that they are. And that's why we see them on virtually every device, whether it be a laptop computer, a desktop computer, servers, our cell phones and things like that, cameras. We see USB ports virtually everywhere. Also, when we talk about our portable computers and being able to connect these various devices, various connectors to our laptops, it can really be inconvenient because the very definition or the very idea behind a portable computer is that it's portable, that we're able to easily grab it and go. If we're constantly having to plug and unplug these devices in order to be able to use those peripherals, it can really kind of be a pain, and that's where the idea behind a port replicator or a docking station comes in. I know that for us here in our offices, we have docking stations, and this allows me to have my monitors hooked up to the docking station, my speakers hooked up to the docking station, all these keyboard, mouse, etc., all hooked up to the docking station. And when I get in, I simply plug in my computer, it pops into the docking station, and that's the only connection I have to make. I don't have to make all those additional connections. Those are plugged up to the docking station. So it allows me to easily take advantage of all those peripherals, but not have to worry about plugging them up and unplugging them each time I want to go somewhere with my laptop. So here's an example of a docking station now. Right when I plug in our cell phone, that's a pretty common type of situation. We have a laptop or a phone, we'll plug up to our docking station, the docking station's plugged up to our computer. It allows us to easily sync our phone. Usually we can charge it at the same time. So it's a nice convenient way to do all that at one time just by plugging it up to the docking station. There on the left, same type of situation. We may have a tablet plugged into a docking station, may connect to it via Bluetooth. So there's a lot of different options, but it's a way to easily connect our device to multiple peripherals at once. If we don't want to deal with cables and have those physical connections, in a lot of cases we have other options that include various wireless types of options, including Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and near-field communications. Bluetooth is essentially a cable replacement technology. You'll see this in use a lot in cars where we want to be able to connect our cell phones to the audio system of the car. You may see it for tablets. I know that I've got a Google Nexus tablet that I connect through Bluetooth to my keyboard, and allows me to not take up that real estate on my small tablet with the virtual keys that are built onto that. I can use the separate Bluetooth keyboard. We also have Wi-Fi connectivity, which has extended range, and most of us are familiar with that. And we've got something referred to as near-field communications. And this is something that is relatively new. Allows us to, for example, if we have RFID enabled credit cards, to get those credit cards near a reader and for our accounts to be charged appropriately when we're going to make a purchase. Allows us to reduce the physical contact and having to pull out our credit card and use it physically, hand it over to somebody else, things like that. So it's a different type of wireless communication that we're probably going to see more and more of in the coming future. One of the downsides to all this portable technology is it's more subject to theft. A personal computer or a box is certainly subject to theft, but being bigger, being bulkier, being a little bit more difficult to kind of carry around, they're not as susceptible as something that's very portable. And so in some situations we want to be able to try to safeguard those portable devices. An example here, they're using a cable lock to be able to secure a laptop. Now the reality is if somebody wants to steal something like that, they're going to be able to do it. So you're really trying to keep honest people honest by using devices like this. But the idea is that you make it a little bit more difficult, then you're going to help protect your equipment that way. And so if you do just take some common sense approaches, most of the time you can help protect your equipment. Something else that can cause problems with equipment is this idea, our power problems, whether it's high voltage or over voltage and under voltage. Both of them are cause problems for computers. Under voltage is a situation where the power that's coming out of our socket is not as high as it should be. If we have no voltage, obviously that's an under voltage situation, but it may be a situation where we have most of the power that we should be having, say 95 volts, but it's not really the 110 to 117 volts where we should be. In a lot of cases, our equipment will continue to function if we're in one of those situations. The downside to it is it forces the power supply to work that much harder, so we want to avoid under voltage situations whenever we can. On the flip side is the condition of over voltage or a power surge. So if we have a lightning strike or we have something that happens that causes an over voltage situation, we can get a spike that comes in the line, and again cause problems to our computer. There's a couple of different ways to handle each one of these issues. If we have a surge that comes in, one of the things that we can do to help protect ourselves against that is use a surge protector. And this is a device that basically clamps down on surges as they come in and helps to try to reduce that spike in the line as it comes in. And this helps protect our equipment. It's not 100% fail-safe. If we get struck by lightning, it doesn't really matter what kind of surge protector we put on it. If it's a direct strike of lightning, we're going to lose our equipment. But this does give you some protection, so they're definitely recommended. Again, on the flip side, if we're in an undervoltage situation or we lose power altogether, we can use a UPS, which is essentially a battery backup. This allows us to continue to function as normal, gives us time to really shut our systems down in a much more graceful way rather than simply pulling the plug and losing power. It's similar to your laptop computers. Your computers have batteries that are built into them. This is essentially the same kind of thing, but for your desktop computers, for server computers, things like that. One of the things that we tend to take for granted when we're using a computer is that we're just using the computer. We usually don't give a second thought to the wear and tear that it plays on our bodies. But the reality is if we continue to do the same function over and over again, the same movement, we're creating additional strain on our body. In the case of typing, for example, we increase the wear and tear on our fingers because we're constantly moving our fingers back and forth. If we're constantly using the mouse to click various spots on the screen, again, we're doing that same motion over and over again. If we've got multiple monitors and we're moving our head back and forth to look at different screens, again, that same movement tends to create additional wear and tear on muscles and nerves and tendons and things like that. So those are real issues that we have to be aware of, especially with the use of technology over an extended period of time. Something else that's kind of related to this is the idea of computer vision syndrome. This is the idea of just continually looking at a monitor for hours on end. And it can really start to cause problems with your eyesight. So my recommendation for both of these issues is to really not spend too much time in front of the computer. Do what you need to do, but periodically get up and walk around. Step away from the computer, look at other things, walk around for a bit. Change up your routine, and that's the best thing that you can do. Something else that's been around that's an approach to try to address these issues is the study of ergonomics. And it's the idea that we can try to design keyboards and try to design the mouse and try to design our work environment in such a way to be able to reduce some of these issues. And so we can increase our comfort, we can increase our efficiency if we have more ergonomic keyboards and a mouse and etc. So that's the idea behind ergonomics. Something else we have to be aware of when we talk about health concerns of using technology is this concept of technology addiction, and we want to be careful about that. I know that for somebody in my profession where I'm constantly dealing with technology, I can't possibly see myself being addicted to computers, but at the same time, I use them an awful lot, and you hear stories of gamers who sit in front of a game console and play it for hours and hours and days on end without eating and showering and all these other very necessary things. In fact, I recall a story a few years ago of someone who actually died at a gaming competition in Korea not for malnutrition, just not getting up, and that's how addicted they were. So there are addictions that are associated with technology as well that can really become very consuming, and they're very serious conditions. So there are certainly health concerns when it comes to the use of technology that we have to be aware of. Some of the physical things that we can do to kind of address some of those ergonomic issues: we can make sure our monitor's at a good angle, a good height. We can make sure that the keyboard's at a good height, that our feet are flat on the floor, that our keyboard's at a good height relative to our arms, things like that. So these are some of the very basic things that we can do. But again, my recommendation: get up and walk around every 30 minutes or so. Don't stare at the monitor for hours and hours on end, typing for hours and hours on end. It's not good for you. You'll be more productive if you take a break every little bit. So this chapter we talked about some of the characteristics for different categories or types of computers. We talked about desktops and laptops and tablets. And the idea being that not one size fits all. If you need more if you've got a fixed budget and you need more processing power, you're probably going to want to go with something like a desktop. You can get more processing power. But if all of a sudden portability or mobility is more important, perhaps you need to settle for a little bit less computer, but pay that additional, that money goes towards that portability aspect, so you end up buying a tablet or a laptop. We talked about handheld computers and some of the different types of servers that are out there. We talked about cloud-based computing. We talked about ports and connections and some of the common types of ports and connections, specifically USB devices, for example. We talked about some of the different ways to protect hardware and some of the health concerns that are associated with the use of technology and some of the ways to try to prevent some of those issues. So that is Chapter 3 in a nutshell. If you have any questions, be sure and shoot me a message. I'd be happy to answer them. I think it's a fairly easy, straightforward chapter. Be sure to read it. And like I said, if you have any questions, send me an email. Thank you and take care.